Are Goblins back in Standard on just a $65 budget thanks to some super sweet Aetherdrift additions? That's what we're going to find out today. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition in our first Aetherdrift edition of Budget Magic. And this week, we are heading to our new standard format to play a deck that I am super hyped about. We are playing some $65 mono red goblins. Goblins, super iconic tribe, a legacy tribe, a modern tribe, hasn't been good in standard for a long time. But I think, thanks to some new Aetherdrift additions, we might actually have a playable goblin deck. So let's talk about our $65 goblin deck, what it's trying to do, jump into some games, see the deck in action. So here's our list. And why am I hyped about this deck now? And the answer is really a couple of new additions that we got from Aetherdrift itself. So the biggest new addition for this deck is Howl Squad Heavy. So Howl Squad Heavy, it does a bunch of things. It starts your engines, it gives your goblins haste, it makes a 1/1. If you get to max speed, it makes a bunch of mana. The big deal here is it gives all of our other goblins haste. And one of the most powerful goblins in existence is Krenko Mob Boss. And we got Krenko in Foundations, but it hasn't been any good in Standard. And the big problem with Krenko in Standard is Krenko's ability requires it to not have Summoning Sickness. It taps to make an absurd amount of goblins. It makes a goblin for each goblin you control, which in a goblin deck means this often taps to make 4 goblins, 8 goblins, and it kind of snowballs, right? Because those goblins stick around so the next turn you make even more. But what usually happens is you play Krenko, and before it loses Summoning Sickness, your opponent bounces it or kills it. But thanks to Howl Squad Heavy, now we can just haste this in. We also have Draconics Engineer, another way that we can give haste. So we got multiple new goblins from Aetherdrift that suddenly turn Krenko from standard unplayable into potential standard all-star. So that's why I'm really hyped about the deck. The other thing this deck has going for it is we actually got a lot of good goblins in Standard. Runvel Horde Master, Dropkick Bomber. We have 2 different playable lords in Standard. Seer Slicer Goblin, Dragon Fodder, 2 drops that make multiple goblins theoretically. Our 1 drops kind of okay. Burnout Bastronaut. We'll see if starting your engines actually matters on this card. We're not a start your engines deck, but it is a reasonable 1 drop. And if we do get to max speed, Howl Squad Heavy making infinite mana is actually kind of ridiculous. Mana for each goblin we control. So that's basically the deck. Curve out with goblins, attack with goblins, hopefully hasten a Krenko to make a ridiculous amount of goblins and smash our opponent to death before they get a chance to recover. So let's jump into some games and see if goblins might actually be a real deck in Aetherdrift Standard. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. All right, budget magic time. Aetherdrift is here, and we are playing some super cheap, budget-friendly goblins. Also, apparently starting our engines. Not that that's a real plan of our deck, but it's one of the better goblin 1-drops in Burnout Bastronaut. About it, Thundering Falls, eh? Well, I mean, we don't have haste for our Krenko. Having haste for Krenko now is one of the biggest reasons I'm kind of hyped for goblins. We'll see. We'll see how good. We'll see how good they are. Oh, there's a lord. All right, well, let's Seer Slicer Goblin and shift into gear number 2. We're doing it. So if we get max speed, this gets double strike. What a reward. What a reward. So this deck is 65 bucks to put together. Opponent. Ooh, Pit Automation. Well, all right. We're going to slam a Goblin Lord here and do a little attacking. Opponent going to do some blocking. Down to 15. And into gear 3, make another goblin. So this can make 2 mana for abilities or copy your next exhaust ability. That's not a mana ability. Opponent looking at our big board of goblins. I feel like goblins might be good. I feel like it might actually be good. So Dropkick Bomber, we can't send goblins to the air. I don't know if it's worth it. It's probably better just play another Dropkick Bomber and swing out. We're actually very close. Man, can you imagine if we had haste and just go land Krenko? Oh, we'd make so many goblins. All right, Chandra. What do we got, Chandra? Thran Spider. All right, gonna keep the ramp plan going. We draw more Krenkos. Well, yeah, let's play a Dropkick Bomber and swing with the crew. We actually have multiple Goblin Lords in Standard now. Dropkick Bomber to go along with Runvel Horde Master. Opponent's gonna block and take a beat, and down to 5. We get a Goblin. We are max speed. Actually, we achieved max speed pretty easily in a deck that... So on one hand, we achieve max speed very easily in a deck that doesn't even care about getting max speed. On the other hand, our opponent's basically dead. So yes, we did it. We have achieved max speed, but our opponent's gonna die next turn anyway if they don't have a Wrath. So I'm not sure. Like I said, we're not... Ooh, repurposing bay. Okay. I don't know if there's a 4 they can get that beats us though. If they could get a 5, they could get the Wrath, and that'd be really good. Oh, opponent's just gonna give up on life. All right, that's also acceptable. Goblins, too good. Oh wait, they can steal repurposing bay off the pit, but they can only get a 4-drop. 5-drop's where the Wrath is, right? I can't imagine. Oh wait, they're getting a 3-drop. Oh, Simulacrum, okay, sure. They're just gonna do their thing. That is cute. Get the Simulacrum Synthesizer, do a little scrying, and then do a little dying. Well, we're just gonna go to combat and swing with the dorks. We could drop kick Bomber, but they have reach anyway. Opponent gonna block, and opponent accepts the Goblin beatdown, and that felt pretty good. That felt pretty good. We didn't even get to the Krenko, and we still blew him out. Budget magic time. We are playing some Goblins. $65 Goblins in standard, checking out apparently the max speed mechanic. Now that that's really our plan, but we have the Howl Squad heavy this game. Can we, if we can get to it? Well, let's get him with the Bastronaut. Hit you for 1. And shift into gear number 2. Get down this Ear Slicer Goblin. Make another Goblin. I mean, these Lords might be kind of good here. We'll see what removal our opponent has, but we have a triple 3-drop Lord hand. Well, Lord 1. Drop kick Bomber. Gonna play the Bomber first because... Wow. All right, discards the Thran Spider. Well, gonna play the Bomber first because if it dies, we'd rather have it die than the Heavy. The Heavy's more important. And that's another Goblin. Sear Slicer works really well with the Lords. Opponent Mountain. Thran Spider. Sure. The bad news for our opponent is we have... You know what? Let's play the Heavy this time. Howl Squad Heavy. Go to combat. Swing with the crew. Gonna block. And drops to 2. Max speed achieved. Oh, we should have played the Lord. That was a punt. I don't know why I was thinking this had Lord text, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because we'll just play another Dropkick Bomber and go to combat and make a Goblin, and Goblin's pump proof. This deck is actually really fast. My goodness. That was what, turn 4 kill? That's on pace with Mono Red. Like, I know like the pump spell decks can get like turn 2 kills if they run really hot, but turn 4 is not bad. That was a pretty overwhelming turn 4 kill. 4 is actually a big number because Sunfall's at 5. Not that there's not other sweepers, but Sunfall is the most popular sweeper. Killing on turn 4, in theory, means you win before the Sunfall comes down and ruins your day. All right, Swayze, can you beat our Goblins? So far, our Goblins kind of crushing it. Ooh. All right, I mean, we're going to keep this. We have the Krenko Howl Squad heavy combo. Hilariously, Krenko with haste is the reason I was so excited for this deck so far. Ooh, District Mascot. So far, we have not even gotten to Krenko, and we've still just been crushing people. What is this, like a counters deck? I feel like there's probably a good... Ooh, all right, saddle it up. I mean, that's kind of a combo. That might actually be a problem for us on the draw here. Opponent hits us up to 2. Well, play the Mountain, and I think we just get down a Dragon Fodder. We don't really have any artifacts for this to blow up, but man, we don't really want to spend a turn off on removal on this silly 2-mana 1/1. More District Mascots. And a Bulwark Ox. Yeah, we're just getting out-curved here. Our opponent won the die roll, and they are dropping their hand faster than we're dropping our hand. Opponent saddles, attacks, grows. Yeah, I don't know if we can come back from this. I don't know if we can. Opponent hits us for a ton. I mean, I guess we take it. This is very bad news. Down to 13. Well, there's a Mountain. Well, I mean, we'll play the Heavy. This does set up for Krenko next turn, but I don't know if we can live long enough. I don't know if we can. So we get a Goblin, which is different than the other Goblins for some reason, but we'll leave back 1. Hit you for 2. Down to 18. Up to gear number 2, accidentally. Yeah, I think our opponent's just gotten off to too fast of a start, though. The double district mascot into Lagorandra. Collodin, okay, gonna give their mounts haste. They already are unsummoning 6, so that doesn't really change anything. Opponent does get a free crew out of it. Yeah, I think we're just gonna be a turn short, right? Can we survive 2 turns somehow? Opponent goes attacking. Actually, I guess, I don't want to chump block with a goblin, but we probably have to. So opponent goes attacking. We have to chump. We take 5. Down to 8. Well, play the mountain. Dropkick bomber. Go to combat. Attack. And then if we they probably have protection. So I think we Witch Stalker's Frenzy to try to kill the district mascot. Opponent can sack the Ox. Oh. The thing is, if we live, and I don't think we're going to, boy, if we were on the play, I think the Krenko wins us the game. But, oh no. Oh no! Oh, now we're definitely dead. Yeah, now the Krenko does not win us the game. Opponent swings out with everything, and we die. Well, it turns out you can defeat the Goblins. You gotta win the die roll and have a lot of 1-drops, though. Honestly, we kind of need to hit land number 3 at some point, but outside of that, this is pretty good Goblin hand. No Krenko. The funny thing is, so we're only a few games in so far. I'm almost wondering if Krenko's, like, not necessary. Which is hilarious, because, like I said, Krenko was the reason I built this deck. Hello, DFT Pro Tour 11. How are you? Can you beat a Burnout Bastronaut? Well, there's a Krenko. Yeah, let's play the Horde Master. Go attacking. Hit ya. Shift into gear 2 with the Bastronaut. These names. This card style actually looks pretty good on Arena. I actually got, in paper I was kind of like meh, but I actually kind of like it on Arena. It fits the digital vibe. What do you got for our Goblins? We would love to draw land. Opponent has an Inti. Witch Stalker's Frenzy is not a land, but we can, well, we can do this. This is pretty good. So, Fanatical Firebrand, go to combat, attack, Frenzy the Inti, and hit you for 5. Shift into gear 3. Come on, deck. Land. We need a land. Opponent. Carpusen Forest and Afterburner Expert. Not a land, but we do get a Sear Slicer Goblin, which is not bad. Well, let's go to combat. Gonna block the Firebrand. Okay. Well, we get a Horde Master trigger. And we get to max speed. It's a Krenko. Well, let's just play the Sear Slicer. Make a token, pass the turn. Well, we got a Krenko out of the way. We're not, like, super greedy with lands, either. We have 23, which I guess is a little greedy. Wow, opponent's playing Krenko. Okay. Oh, they must be a Soul Cauldron deck. So if we swing with everything, well, let's go to combat. Attack, attack, attack. Actually, if we attack with everything, that's hits for 6, 7... Oh, okay. We just attack with everything. And the max speed is actually going to matter here. They have to block the Bastronaut. They do not. Max speed! It mattered. We needed the double strike from Burnout Bastronaut. And that was, what, a turn 4 kill with 2 lands? Goblins! Goblins looking surprisingly good. So going into this, I was like, okay, I think Goblins are going to be a sweet budget deck. I was pretty confident that for a $65 deck, the deck was going to be good. You don't want to read too much into early access day. That's a mistake, right? Because people are trying out new things. We're not playing Esper Blink or Self Bounce every other match. So we don't want to read too much into it, but I will say Goblins has felt solid. I think the biggest upside when it comes to early access day, what I'm really looking for is just how does the deck feel, right? Does it feel right? Does it feel powerful? Do the synergies work? Because the meta is just going to be different than the like real meta or the like, you know, non-early access day meta. And so far, Goblins has definitely passed the test. It feels solid. All right, well, let's see if we can draw land number 3. And this is not a max speed deck. I said that before. But we've had the Bastronaut pretty consistently, but we've been turning on max speed pretty easily, like oddly easily. We hit a land, which is nice. Get in with a Bastronaut. Opponent can't block it. Shift into gear 2 and Fanatical Firebrand. Pass it. Opponent might also be a Goblin deck, actually. We're not playing Cacophony Scamp, but that is a Goblin. Attacks. Well, I mean, we're going to take the one. Our opponent isn't even in the race. If we block it, then they just get a 2-for-1 with the Scamp, and that feels bad. Wow, they are gonna sack it. Wants to get rid of the Bastronaut. Sure, that is fair. And opponent, Draconics Engineer. All right, that is a good one. Well, land, and let's do a little dropkick bombing. Play the bomber. Opponent takes it. I'm also curious if the ability to throw our goblins in the air at our opponent is actually relevant. If not, wow, all right, Amonkhet Raceway. And Draconics Engineer. Actually, you know what? Sure. You know what? Maybe Amonkhet Raceway be worth it in this deck. That's another way. That's another way that we can give Krenko haste. Well, okay. We have 2 Krenkos, which makes this choice much easier. Yeah, maybe Raceway. Oh, so I was thinking this deck would not very consistently get to max speed. I thought that was unlikely that we get to max speed consistently. However, we've got to max speed very consistently. Maybe just by blind luck of drawing Bastronauts a lot, but if we're actually going to get to max speed, Amonkhet Raceway Kenkro. Actually, this might be better than Soulstone Sanctuary. We can afford a couple of colorless lands. Like I said, we're playing the Soulstone Sanctuary, so we can afford a couple. It might just be better than Soulstone Sanctuary. I kind of like that idea. I might have to steal that. Still not sure, like, so far it's felt easy to get to max speed, although whether or not it remains easy is another question. We could kill Seer Slicer before it attacks in case there's Witch. Oh, they're gonna pass. Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Life is looking up. How about another Dropkick Bomber? I think we just pass the turn. Just do a little passing. Just a little passy pass. Found it, gonna make a dragon. But can your dragon dinosaur beat a whole lot of goblins? There are a lot of goblins coming from this Krenko opponent land. If we draw haste, I think we win next turn. Right now, this taps to make, what, 4 3/3s? That's kind of absurd. And then next turn, we'll tap to make 8 3/3s at least. Krenko is a card. My god, opponent gonna get in with the dragon. Keep increasing their speed. We drop to 12. Opponent, 3rd gear. And Runvel Hordemaster. Opponent wants in on the Lord game. And Runvel Hordemaster. All right, well, let's Krenko ya. Make some 3/3s. Haste? Haste for the win. Haste for the win would be so sweet. Dragon Fodder. I mean, that's also very good. Dragon Fodder. Seer Slicer Goblin. Is it worth attacking? Let's attack with our 3/3s. Actually, all of our 3/3s. We're just gonna make a bunch more goblins anyway. Opponent, gotta do some blocking. They are gonna get a ton of Runvel Hordemaster triggers. Well, we gotta Krenko now while we have max goblins. Opponent drops to none. Hordemaster finds another Engineer, and nothing, and Fanatical Firebrand, and Howl Squad Heavy. All right. Our opponent might be able to have a cute turn with Howl Squad Heavy, actually, because they can hit us with the Flyer, which we can't currently stop. And then this is going to tap to make 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. So it kind of becomes a ritual. You play it for 3, and then it taps, or actually 5 mana. 4 mana, because you got to pay, actually 5 mana. All right, Fanatical Firebrand, let's see if they do it. They do need to get to max speed. All right, so they're going to go max speed. Going to trigger the Hordemaster. Fanatical Firebrand, nothing. Down to 11. Max speed achieved. Now, and opponent, there's a heavy. So now they have haste. And now they can tap it to bank a bunch of mana. They play the land. If their last card is Krenko, then they just get us. Opponent, going to haste in the Howl Squad Heavy. Fanatical Firebrand taps it to make 6. Is it Krenko? That is the question. Draconics Engineer. That doesn't beat us, though. Howl Squad Heavy. Wow, I think we survive. Haste up the crew, but we have a lot of blockers because we have the Krenko opponent. That's not another Krenko. That's not a Krenko. Engineer. But they don't have enough mana, right? Haste them up. Wow. That was actually super close. Opponent, Goblins. Math is for blockers. Opponent swings with the crew. I hope I'm not missing anything. I think we blocked everything. So we take 8, 9 from the Firebrand, but then we just went on the backswing. We dropped to 3. Opponent can exile most of their deck to run Hordemaster. Oh, 16 triggers, but they don't have the... Oh, there's the... Krenko was the 2. Oh my god, it was the top card. If our opponent had the Krenko to go with the Howl Squad Heavy, we would have won. We would have won. But it turns out, well, just as I was saying, well, Kranko, is Kranko really worth it? Do we even really need the Kranko? It turns out the answer is yes. Kranko is actually insane, and we're gonna make a ton more goblins and play a lord and hit you for as much damage as possible. Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Goblins versus goblins, and in the end, everyone's favorite goblin commander, Kranko, stealing the win. Sweet, sweet. Stands fine, no 1-drop, which is a little sad. But, I mean, we gotta find 2-drop and a bunch of, well, there's our 1-drop right on time. Do we even play Sear Slicer for no reason? Yeah, I guess. We're gonna play it. They're mono white, they're probably not gonna kill it. Or they're a white deck, they're probably not gonna kill it in instant speed. Opponent, Seraphic Steed. Oh, this is the same deck we played against before. The saddle deck, all right. Well, play Soulstone Sanctuary. That is first strike, okay. Okay, I guess I should have read that card. Ah, it has first strike, eh? Well, I mean, I think this game is probably over. Opponent. Thornspire Word. Thunderous Velocipede. Passing. Well, there's a Howl Squad heavy. Giving us a goblin to throw into this lifelinker. Yeah, I kind of wish we didn't throw away our Sear Slicer goblin. That would have been helpful. It would have been pretty good here because we'd be triggering it. I mean, I guess there's a chance Kranko does stuff, but once his steed starts saddling, it's going to be a problem. Chandra Spark Hunter. So I can turn on the Thunderous Velocipede. Gonna make a vehicle. Gets a counter because of the Velocipede. Opponent. Are they gonna try to like crew into Angel? Opponent just passes. All right, they are not. Oh, we really need to draw a land. Oh, Runbelt Hordemaster. I mean, Runbelt Hordemaster is good. Well, let's play the Hordemaster. Let's play the Bastronaut, I think. So this has crew 1. This has crew 3. So they're just gonna block. But we kill the Chandra. Runbelt Hordemaster triggers. Yeah, another Howl Squad heavy. So Chandra's down. We hit our opponent. We get up to speed 2. And pass the turn. Opponent. This draw is much less scary than the last time we played against this deck. That's for sure. Where they just went like 1-drop, saddle, saddle, saddle. That draw was insane. Ah, there's the district mascot. A little less scary coming down on turn 5. And another Chandra. I mean, if we just draw land for this Kranko, it should win us the game. But we need to draw the land. Opponent, wow, gonna go loot mode here. Discards, Velocipede, draws a card. Gonna crew up the dork. And pass the, whoa, there it is. There it is, there it is, there it is. That is the land, that is a Kranko. And that's what we've been waiting for. I think we're gonna tap this boy real quick. And yeah, make another goblin. Opponent needs a Sunfall. They need a Sunfall because this Kranko is going to get that. Opponent's gonna crew. So yes, they can kill a couple goblins. They can gain a little life with the steed. We get some Hordemaster triggers. But I mean, Kranko! Kranko's so insane. All right, up to 3. And exile another land, pass the turn. I mean, we just win next turn, right? Threw our chump attack on turn 3 into the steed with our Sear Slicer goblin. Goblins overcome. Oh, are they gonna hit the Kranko? Oh, I have some bad news for our opponent. Some bad news. Sheltered by ghosts. Okay, what are you going for? Hordemaster, okay. Is that enough to save our opponent? Maybe. Opponent gonna make a vehicle. So we have another Kranko. The problem is we're making 1/1s now and they have 2 lifelinkers. Opponent, crews a Velocipede. So we make 10 goblins. I think we actually still get there. I think Kranko number 2 still does it. Kranko. Actually, okay. So the way to do this technically correct, how do we lock full control? So we resolve this trigger and then we Kranko. This gets us max goblins, and this should be enough, right? So we go to combat, we swing with everything, 11, 17, 18, 19, 20. Opponent blocks, they go to 19. Yeah, I mean, math is for blockers. Can you beat 21 goblins, opponent? All right, so I take back everything bad I said about Kranko. Our first few games, Kranko didn't do anything. The last couple games, Kranko has been essential, literally essential for us being able to win. An opponent gains back a bunch of life, but not quite enough, and turns out making a 20 hasty goblins with Kranko. Still pretty good. No one drop, but this hand looks pretty good. Wow. Ooh, okay, Goblin Tomb Raider. Ah, there's our one drop. Start your engines. I'm actually surprised there's not like an engine revving sound effect for any of these cards. Like, it's fine, I guess, but I was oh, it's a vehicle deck, I see. I see. They're playing some Boros vehicles. I mean, last time vehicles were good in standard Boros vehicles. That was the deck. Hardy Kieran, Smuggler's Copter. Well, down to 19. We will play a land. I think we just Dragon Fodder first. Because I don't think our opponent wants to trade their 3-1 for a 1-1 opponent. Culloden. Oh, okay, that's actually a scary one. And a Skrelv. Culloden's actually a scary one because that lets their vehicles come in with haste. Opponent getting in with the 2-2. Well, we will take it this turn. Sure, down to 17. We draw Fanatical Firebrand. That's actually not bad. And then if our opponent blocks with the Culloden, post-combat we can Fanatical Firebrand ping it to get it off the battlefield. Blocks with Culloden. All right, this is what we're hoping for. Since we don't have a removal spell, so we get a Horde Master trigger. We get up to 3 for Start Your Engines. Exile a land that we kind of wanted. Well, that's Fanatical Firebrand. Snipe the Culloden. Ooh, House Squad. All right, House Squad's good. All right, pass the turn and see what happens. Opponent, Battlefield Fjord, and a Chandra Spark Hunter. Well, here comes the vehicles. Are we losing this race? Maybe. Opponent makes a pilot. Hastes up the vehicle. The question is, how much do they value their Chandra? Wow, the answer is, oh, that's the Kranko. That is the Kranko. So let's think about this. If we go to combat, attack with this and this, our opponent blocks. This can't block. This has menace, but this crews for 1, so they can crew it. But if we attack their face, do they even care? And then we can house squad heavy with max speed, make back some mana. All right, opponent gonna crew, double block Bastronaut, block the Tomb Raider. All right, so opponent actively wants to keep us from turning on max speed. They're willing to spend a lot of their board. Yeah, I guess we kill the vehicle. Not go exactly the way we hoped. We get a couple triggers. Well, I mean, we have to play the heavy. Pass the turn. Oh, that was probably wrong. I guess since it was an exile, we should have just ran it out. Waiting was probably a silly plan, because we would have got the 1-1 goblin that we could have attacked with, right? So I think just waiting was probably not the wisest. Opponent, 2 tokens this time. Out of cards for the moment. Gonna crew up their vehicle. Land. Ah, there it is. All right, land and Kranko, mob boss. That is what we were waiting for. That is a hasty Kranko. And we're just going to pass the turn for now. Swing at our opponent. They can trade if they want to. And I guess we just Kranko now before you lose this goblin. Okay, maybe Kranko's insane. I went from Kranko being bad to Kranko being insane. Vana going to crew it up. I mean, next turn we should get max speed, right? We shouldn't die this turn. Next turn, we should get max speed. And then this House Squad heavy is going to make an epic amount of mana. Like, it is going to tap for so much mana. All right, opponent, can you kill the Kranko? Wow, they actually can. All right. Well, opponent has the actual perfect top deck for this scenario, which is get rid of the Kranko, make another vehicle. Okay, so now this has gotten interesting. Our opponent's still kind of in an awkward spot as far as being able to attack much. Oh, now we can't get max speed? Hits us to 50. So our opponent does not have a flyer, right? They do not currently... Okay, so... Goblin Tech, Dropkick Bomber. And send the token to the air. Make a token. This Cloudspire Coordinator has been popping off for our opponent. Opponent gonna crew. I mean, this is fine. We just want max speed. Okay, so we achieve max speed. We get some triggers. And we are gonna have a good House Squad heavy. We exile even more lands. We gotta sack the token. Come on, Runbelt. All right, that works. So we can tap this to make 6. Play the heavy. Play a Seer Slicer. Play a Bastronaut. And I think we're good because now we might get to see a little used backup combo for the deck, which is Dropkick Bomber with House Squad Heavy. We can send all of our goblins to the air. This taps to make a mana for each goblin. This pay a mana to send the goblin to the air. And unless our opponent finds removal, that should do it. Because they can't kill us this turn, right? We're at 15. And opponent gives us the GG and scoops it up. And this deck's got some power. I'm actually, like, shocked. I am shocked at how good Goblins has been. Shocked, I say. Yeah, we're gonna keep this. Little bit land heavy, but well, there's the Howl Squad. Well, let's get the engine started. Burnt out Bastronaut. Aetherdrift. All right, so probably some sort of big mana ramp pseudo combo deck. At least that's what I think of when I think of Elise. Some sort of, I'm gonna make a lot of mana and cast Omniscience or something insane, and then do some ridiculous combo with my sideboard and win. That's what I think of as Elite decks. He was very good at building those decks. My god, he makes some cool brews with the big mana stuff. Oh, it's an artifact deck. All right, Fabrication Foundry. Well, let's play the land, and I mean, I guess we just Fanatical Firebrand. Fanatical Firebrand is a cute way to get max speed going. Like if the ground gets cummed up, we can always sack this Clay Fired Bricks. Gonna do a little ramping, gain a little life. Well, Wraths, oh boy, even more lands. Well, I mean, I guess we do it. I'm actually very concerned about a sweeper here, but Dropkick Bomber. Spring-loaded Saw Blades. Gonna kill the Bastronaut. All right, well, speed is up to 3. And Thousand Moon Smithy. Yeah, that's kind of an issue. Let's play okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play Howl Squad Heavy. We're gonna make a token, and then we're gonna pay 1 to give the token flying. It was gonna die anyway, so this should get us to max speed. So max speed achieved. It turns on the Howl Squad, but we don't really have anything to do with it at the moment. Are we flipping? They would have to tap everything, and the 5/5. No. All right, well, if they have the sweeper, it's very sad. If they don't have the sweeper, this Krenko might win us the game next turn. Does it actually win us the game? Repurposing Bay, okay. That's frightening, because they can sack Thousand Moon Smithy to get the Wrath. Yeah, that's an issue. Oh, Riptide Gearhulk. I mean, that is also an issue. They're gonna tuck the Howl Squad Heavy. Yeah, that's not great. That is not great. And that's a 6/6, oh no. We might have met our match to the big artifacts. Oh, and it's a land? Oh, no. Ugh, I mean, I guess we have to play the Krenko, but it's way less exciting without haste. Oh, we had it. Well, Repurposing Bay showing off at the moment. And Voyage Home. I'm going to draw a bunch of cards. Trigger Prowess. Artifacts did get an insane amount of support in this set. That's for sure. And Repurposing Bay. I'm going to sack a 2. To get a Perilous Snare, to get rid of Krenko. Yeah, this game is over. Wow! Okay, I mean, this game's super over. Not even a little over, this is like super over. Oh, about it, gonna go attacking, it's us. For 1 million. Can we die, please? Just kill us? I mean, we could have jumped to stay alive for a turn, but there's no way we come back from this point. Bastronaut. 2 Lords, we don't have a 2-drop, and we don't have a Krenko, but this is a pretty reasonable hand. Hello, Magic Mikes. And a Carway, say. Well, land and Burnout Bastronaut. Yo. Gotta get fast. About it, Attic Ways. That is a painful mana base. It's actually might help us a bit. Well, I see blue-white. Now I think artifacts. Maybe artifacts. Split Skin Doll. Maybe Vehicle Reanimator? Be nice if we could draw something that we could play. Portal to Phyrexia. Get in, hit ya, and I mean, I guess we just pump it since we can't do anything else. Boom, hit you for 2. That Portal to Phyrexia in the graveyard, though, that's a concern. That is a concern. Liege Archaeologist. So it's got to just be an Artifact Reanimator deck. Oh my god. Portal to Phyrexia Mill. Well, there's the Krenko. I mean, we're going to play a land. And we're going to play the Howl Squad heavy. If they can reanimate it this turn, they almost certainly win. If they can't reanimate it this turn, the Kranko can make enough tokens that we can play through the portal. So this is a huge turn. Kiora. Okay. Okay, the game continues. The game continues. We can play through the portal. We got a shot. We got a shot. It would be nice if we could get to max speed, but that might have to wait. For now, the goal is to not die to a portal effect. The opponent passes. No, they're heavy. Well, let's play the Sanctuary. Let's play the Kranko. Go to combat, make the token. Kranko to make some more tokens. Sadly, this one is going to chump attack itself. The token from the Howl Squad heavy, there's occasions where it's good, but boy, a lot of times it just slams into something. All right, but we have 4 tokens though. So that means if they reanimate portal, we don't die. And if our opponent doesn't do something good this turn, this Kranko is going to get out of hand real quick. We have the Lord in hand that our opponent doesn't know about. I feel like Artifact Reanimator could be pretty good. All right, there it is. I mean, there's the portal. But we got 3 tokens we can sack. And there's not even really anything in the graveyard to get back. Wow, Kranko. This is the least scared I've ever been of a portal for Portal of Phyrexia. The Kranko is just owning it. But we will play a land. Play a Dropkick Bomber. Now we got to do some shenanigan. Go to combat. Make the token. Kranko. Make a bunch of tokens. Dropkick Bomber. Send that token to the air. Wait, what if we attack with everything? 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, do we win? Wait, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I think we do win. So if we swing with everything, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. They block 3, so they take 8. They're each at least 2 power. Yeah, I think that does work. All right. Well, I guess we could Witch Sucker Frenzy something too. I don't even think we need to, but we could. So yeah, we definitely have the win. Man. That's the thing about Kranko, right? Is it's not like you need Kranko for a million turns. You need Kranko for a turn. It only really takes a turn. About it. Sure? And game. Goblins. And so I don't want to read too much into early access day. That's the rule of early access day, right? Like, everyone's trying cool new things. It's really hard to be like, okay, we played this deck and it's, busted because we're just playing against a different meta. But as I said before, on early access day, the way I look at decks is how do they feel? How's the curve? Do they play powerfully? Are the synergies good? And I think that Goblins passed literally every one of those criteria. So record-wise, we lost twice. We lost once to the Artifact deck, once to the super fast draw from the Selesnya Saddle deck or Naya Saddle deck. Although we played that deck again in the future and beat it, so I don't even think it was so much like a bad matchup, just that our opponent was on the play and had like such a great draw. And that draw was very impressive with the deck. It actually made me think Saddle could work. So we only lost twice. I believe we won 6. So I think we were 6-2 with the deck. But again, early access day, the record isn't really a big deal. The thing that is a big deal is the deck just felt solid. So two big takeaways. Takeaway number 1 is max speed, at least in an aggro deck like this, might be a lot better than we think, because this is not a max speed deck. We have Burnout Bastronaut, we have Howl Squad heavy, and we were very consistently hitting max speed. I will say it still might be kind of win more, because a lot of times we were hitting max speed on like the turn before we were going to just kill our opponent anyway. So it didn't matter too much, although we did get to see a game that we won specifically because we had double strike on Bastronaut. We had another game that we won because of Howl Squad heavy being able to make a bunch of mana. So it was occasionally relevant, but just getting to max speed, if this deck can do it, a dedicated max speed deck definitely should be able to do it, because we are not really even trying to get to max speed. The other thing is Kranko, and I think that Kranko really changes the equation of this deck. This deck's actually pretty synergistic now, thanks to the new additions. Howl Squad heavy, absolutely huge, letting us hasten the Kranko, and we got to see our first games with the deck. It was kind of like, is Kranko even that good? We're winning without it. But then in our later games, we got to see just a turn or 2 turns with Kranko pretty much wins the game. And thanks to haste, one of those turns can be the turn we play Kranko, which is way different than in the past when we had to like play it and wait a turn. So Kranko being good really changes things. Also, Dropkick Bomber better than I realized, especially with this weird max speed stuff. But just in general, being a Goblin deck, how we get beat sometimes. There's two ways we can get beat. One is our opponent just rats us into oblivion. Then we're very sad, and that is a concern once we get back to Sunfall Standard, and not on early access day. So maybe the sweepers will be a big problem. So that's one way. The other way we can get beat is our opponent just gums up the board and we can't get through them. Dropkick Bomber, perfect for that scenario. We had to see it like throwing the Goblin from Howl Squad Heavy into the air to get to max speed. We even had like the game where he would have just won by sending our entire team to the air with mana from Howl Squad Heavy to just kill our opponent in that big board stall. So the synergy of the decks are good. We don't have to play hardly any bad cards. Like if you look at our deck, almost every card I would say is a good card. So I think the Goblins, we'll see how it lines up with the full meta, but just as far as how the deck functions, how it plays, it felt pretty legit. And the one update I might make, and I don't know if this is worth it or not, but I'm actually considering changing the Soulstone Sanctuaries to the Amonkhet Raceways. I think that's sweet tech. That does work really well with Krenko. And I think we might actually hit max speed enough that it'd be worth it. Plus Soulstone Sanctuary, yeah, it's cool. It becomes a Goblin technically, but it's just really slow. We're hoping to win by like turn 4, not turn a land into a 3/3 on turn 4. But anyway, that's Goblins. That's Budget Magic for this week. That's our first look at Amonkhet Standard. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.